Welcome to Tru Heel Heat, the place where we use insider terms because we think we know what the fuck we're talking about, even though we don't. My name's Maxwell Jacob Friedman, and I'm better than you, and you know it.
Hello. It is me, your Tru Heel Phenom, SP3. We are live on the Tru Heel Heat Sports YouTube channel for the 4th episode of Tru Heel Heat Check, talking about the latest and greatest in NBA basketball. I am here, as always, with my esteemed colleague, my co-host. He is the most knowledgeable, even more than me, when it comes to NBA basketball from the Tru Heel Heat gang, even though he's a Knicks fan. He is Chris G.
Can't leave out that important detail. And hey, I gave you those plugs yesterday. You said you weren't going to make fun of my Knicks and you were going to talk.
I didn't make fun of the Knicks.
I'm just reminding you.
I made fun of you. I made fun of you, not the Knicks. I am not. I have nothing bad.
Reminder.
Yes. I specifically went back and watched to make sure. I was like, do I really have to keep to this agreement? And I do, because you did get in all the plugs. I appreciate that. He did a great job yesterday on the Fightful main channel. Had a bunch of people watching for the Impact post show. Bravo, sir. Bravo. I'm proud of you.
Thank you, good sir. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yes, sir. Representing the Tru Heel Heat gang as only Chris G can. But welcome back, everyone, on the Tru Heel Heat Sports YouTube channel for Tru Heel Heat Check. If this is your first time watching with us, this is where we talk everything NBA basketball, the latest in the National Basketball Association. And it's been a busy couple of weeks since All-Star break. A lot of things have transpired. Your Knicks is looking good despite taking a loss this week. They're still looking very pretty, set into the Eastern Conference. But this week we got to start with the Western Conference. Before we do all that, just a quick reminder. Remember to drop the thumbs up on this video. Share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you are new to the Tru Heel Heat Sports YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. We're trying to hit some goals, some milestones here on this channel, because all the success that we're having on multiple platforms. Tru Heel Heat Wrestling just hit 5,000 subscribers. Twitch channel, we just hit affiliate status. So we are trying, Tru Heel Heat Sports, to have a very manageable goal of 500 subscribers by this summer. How's that? I think that's a reasonable one in the next 4 months to get to, so you can help us along with that goal by sharing with your friends, subscribing you're new, and tell a friend to subscribe to the Tru Heel Heat Sports YouTube channel. And of course, sound off in the live chat. We love hearing from y'all, what y'all think about the latest in NBA basketball. Let us know in the live chat. Right now, we got the good brothers in the chat. Alan Weinstein, who says, Heat check, let's fucking go. SP3 and OG Chris G, what's up, fellas? What's going on, ALW, my fellow Lakers fan? We're doing good, y'all. We end up playing. We're going to talk about it. Chilling with Chase, the good brother Chase Oliver is in the chat as well, saying Tru Heel Heat Sports will get 500 subs. Yes, it's a lofty goal, but I think it is manageable. What about you? You think it's manageable, Chris G?
I think we can do it. I believe we will do it. It's only a matter of time.
Absolutely. Chris G is a very important part of how we were able to hit affiliate status over on the Twitch channel with all your work with the gaming, with Blunt Impact. Appreciate what y'all are doing over there on that platform as well. And Glad if you are joining us for the first time on this platform here, but let's get to some NBA basketball, and you see it in the headline. We got to talk about it because the last one that we did, we talked about All-Star break. Before that, we had our trade deadline edition of Tru Heel Heat Check, and we talked about the Phoenix Suns getting Kevin Durant, the big trade, one of the biggest trades in NBA trade deadline history, and it's all for naught already. I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh at someone's pain. I don't mean to laugh at an injury. It's never good to see an injury. I feel bad for Kevin Durant. I don't feel bad for Phoenix Suns fans because Phoenix Suns fans were already acting like they already won. They were already, I don't know about you, but I see a lot of Phoenix Suns fans when we talk about NBA basketball over on FMC on Fightful Overbook. And I had a bunch of them being like, oh yeah, we're on our way to the NBA finals. We're going to get the NBA championship. So I don't give a fuck about how y'all feel about this injury because y'all counted y'all coins before it was even cash. So y'all deserve this. But Kevin Durant suffering an injury that may keep him out of action for the rest of the regular season. This is kind of the caveat that we said with Kevin Durant going to the Phoenix Suns. We said if he's able to stay healthy, and apparently so, it is not meant to be. He suffered a sprained ankle on a slip, a pre-game slip, and he's expected to be reevaluated in 2 weeks. But the first kind of projection was that he was going to be out for the rest of the regular season. What do you think about this? Basically, a freak accident causing what may be the injury that keeps the Phoenix Suns out of the Western Conference Finals.
It is a freak injury. I've only seen it once yesterday, Jonathan Kuminga did the same thing, sprained his ankle on the layup line during warmups. It's a freak accident, especially it happened that close to each other. But the only other time I've seen it live when I was 16 playing in a league, kid on the layup line tore his ACL. So it does happen. It's very rare. It's a very freak accident. From the angle that I seen, he didn't slip. I mean, he just turned his ankle. He literally took a step and just rolled his ankle. Stop playing in low tops. Anybody that plays basketball out there, stop fucking playing in low tops. I can't stress that enough.
I learned that a long time ago.
Low tops are not good to play basketball, and I don't know why professionals continue to do it. But do I feel bad for Kevin Durant? Sure, maybe a little bit. Do I feel bad for the fans? Absolutely not. The championship was set in stone. Just give them the title. They were getting the tattoos ready. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. As long as you got Chris Paul, it ain't happening. CP3 is cursed. Chilling with Chase, you are right.
Curse P3. Curse P3. That's correct.
Curse P3.
Chilling with Chase saying that that CP3, not SP3. I'm not cursed. Maybe a little bit. But CP3 is cursed, bro. Yeah, it's so true. True Josh saying that Kevin Durant hurt again. Yes, indeed. He also says
oh, sorry. No, go ahead.
No, he also says Suns fans hide from chats too when they lose in big playoff games.
This is true. This is true.
He never misses an opportunity.
I can't believe I'm going to say this. I usually give people the benefit of the doubt when it comes to stuff like this, but I think this solidifies that Kevin Durant will never be healthy for a full season going forward in his career. There's 4 seasons in a row now that he's going to play less than 50, 60 games. I mean, it's unfortunate, man. He's talking about one of the greatest talents of all time, and it just solidifies for the rest of his career. You will not be able to count on Kevin Durant to play more than 50 games.
And it's really kind of like you have to go back to that 2019 season where he got the injury early in the playoffs and then he tries to come back and then he gets injured again. And And he hasn't been the same since then. In a lot of ways, it's very similar to the Paul George injury in the Olympics when he got hurt. And, although he had like an MVP caliber season with the Oklahoma City Thunder, and he's had good seasons with the Clippers since going over there, he hasn't been on the trajectory where he was before that injury for Paul George. And for Kevin Durant, he was on an all-time status, an all-time run. He was widely considered one of the greatest scorers of all time, and he should be considered one of the greatest scorers of all time. But he was on the way to being like a top 10, at least top 15 player. But those injuries that transpired in the 2019 playoffs, it feels like he's never recovered from.
No, it just feels like, we see him come back, and then every time he comes back, it's like, damn, Durant looks good. Injuries don't phase him, but then he gets hurt again. So it's sad. Hopefully he can stay healthy now going forward, but we'll see.
So I'm reading this off of the CNBC Sports, kind of talking about the reevaluation here, saying that Kevin Durant is expected to be reevaluated in 2 weeks after suffering a sprained ankle on Wednesday. According to the Athletics, Shams Charania, I just call him Shams, Durant, who has played just 3 games for the Phoenix Suns thus far, was a late scratch for Wednesday's game against the Oklahoma City Thunder after suffering the injury during a pre-game workout. The Arizona Republic reported that there was fear within the Suns organization that the superstar forward could be sidelined for the remainder of the regular season and the start of the playoffs with a grade 2 ankle sprain. But according to Shams' initial 2-week timeline, the current prognosis appears to be a bit more optimistic. Video of the injury shows Durant warming up before Phoenix's game against the Thunder, in which he slips on the floor and tweaks his left ankle while going towards the basket for a layup. And it's a shame because that was going to be their first road game too with Kevin Durant. And
no, home game. That was their first home game.
Oh, yes, excuse me. Home game. Yeah. Their first game in Phoenix since the trade for Kevin Durant. And he was looking great in those 3 games. Like, he had that big game where I think Booker scored 36 and he scored 37. His first game back, he shot the ball so well from the field. So it was looking like it was going to be another like seamless fit like it was with the Golden State Warriors. And then this injury happened.
KD is a very rare player where you could insert him into any lineup and any system, and he immediately adapts and makes the team better. Like, it's hard. It's really hard to do that in the NBA. You have to be such an adaptable player and willing to give and take, especially if you're playing with other superstars. And KD, like, seemingly has no trouble, playing with other superstars and just fitting into their system and just doing what he does best. I was looking forward to seeing how far the Suns can go now, even though I'm not particularly a Suns fan, or they're not even like in the near upper echelon of teams or franchises that I like. But, it is exciting to see these group of great, legends. You got a young legend in Book, you got a legend in KD, and you got a bona fide Hall of Famer in CP3. And even Ayton, Ayton's a solid player himself. It was going to be fun to see these guys play together, and it's just, we feel robbed of that. Anybody who's experienced a serious ankle injury or even a minor ankle injury knows that ankle injury is very tricky. As it doesn't have an exact timetable of when it heals. Some ankle injuries heal in 3 days. Some ankle injuries take 3 weeks. So the reevaluation being at least 2 weeks allows me to believe that he's out for at least 3 or 4. I think he's going to miss the regular season. I think even after reevaluation, guy's 35 years old. He's had Achilles surgery. He has had a couple other surgeries. Like, the ankle might take a little longer to heal. So I'm going to give him 4 weeks. I think he's done for the regular season.
Yeah, and it seemed like the Phoenix Suns were, like I said, getting chemistry with him, and they were making their way up the standings. I think the last time we did our podcast, they were a 6th seed. Now they're in the 4th seed. They're 37 and 29. So they've played 66 games. So that means that they have 16 games left. Yeah. I think the best move for them is for, even if he is healthy to come back for the last couple of games, is to sit him out, and maybe he can come back for the start of the playoffs, where they're in a pretty good position being a 4th seed right now, because whoever's in that fifth spot, whether it's the Clippers are there right now or the Warriors, both of those teams have not looked very consistent throughout the regular season. Same thing with the Timberwolves, who are just a game, half a game, same as the Mavericks, who are also a half a game at the eighth seed from the fifth seed right now. So anything can happen in these last couple of games to switch these standings around, but it's going to be very interesting who their first round matchup is going to be. How far do you think the Suns can get in the playoffs with a KD that, let's give it a number, like at 65 to 75%?
Even KD at 65 to 75% is still solid. I mean,
Yeah.
If Devin Booker could, which I'm pretty sure he's capable of taking over when he has to, CP3 can stay healthy and Ayton can be engaged. I mean, that sky's the limit for the Suns in the Western Conference. Realistically, you want him back at 100%. Him at 65 to 70%. Second round might get bounced out after that, depending on who they play.
Yeah, especially if they stay at that 4 seed, and in the second round they would play whoever the Nuggets play in the first round. We're going to predict that it's probably going to be the Nuggets that they would play in the second round. And I don't know if you want that.
And with given KD's injury record, these last couple of years, especially coming back from injury, how often he does get injured again. Can we really trust KD to be out there at 65 to 75%? He might just re-injure himself, and then you don't have no KD for the rest of the playoffs. So depends how the first couple of games, how his rehab goes, how he's feeling going into the playoffs. If he's not feeling that good, I'd keep him out the whole first round, see if you could survive without him, so you could have 100% Kevin Durant in the second round.
I agree. You're going to need him more against Denver Nuggets than you will against whoever is at that 5th seed when the regular season is over. True Ja saying last 3 seasons projected 114 games missed, not including the season he missed before that. That's crazy. That's ridiculous. Like, to have a triple-digit missed games in the last 3 seasons. Like, the Nets never even really got KD and Kyrie on the floor that much together when you literally think about it.
That's an average of 35 games missed a season, not counting the season before that. So, I mean, you're playing 55 games, give or take. I mean, it's not what you're paying a guy $45 million to do. You know what I mean? You need him out there at least 80, 90% of the time. So, just a missed opportunity on KD, Kyrie, and the Nets part.
Indeed. We got Chilling with Chase, who says KD a low ego star. No, I wouldn't even say he's a low ego star. KD doesn't want to be the number one guy. That's what it really feels like throughout his entire career, because when the Thunder was kind of placing like more emphasis on Russell Westbrook, KD was totally fine with that until that point where they lost to the Golden State Warriors in the 2016 playoffs. He was good with just deferring to Russell Westbrook, him being the face of the franchise, despite KD obviously being the better player. Then he goes to the Golden State Warriors, which is firmly established as Steph Curry's team, and he was totally fine with that, and he was the best player on that team as well. Then he could have went to the Knicks, but he got talked into going to the Brooklyn Nets from Kyrie, and Kyrie was really kind of the catalyst for sending them both there. So despite him being the best player on that team as well, he really deferred to Kyrie, and now he's on a team that's firmly established as either Chris Paul or Devin Booker's team. He can seamlessly fit in, but I wouldn't call him a low ego player. I would call him a player that really doesn't want to be that guy.
He has an ego. If you listen to KD, he's always calling himself one of the greatest players of all time. Calls himself the greatest scorer of all time. You can tell by his Twitter and his multiple ghost accounts. He has an ego.
Mr. Burner account him.
Yes, Mr. Burner account himself. He gets sensitive. He obviously has an ego. What I will give KD is that his willingness to fit into a team with other stars is impressive, because he knows his level of talent, but he knows that he has to sacrifice some just so the team can prosper. So he is a very selfless player in terms of that type of ego. But I mean, I'm not calling him a low ego star by far.
No.
He has an ego.
Exactly.
He's
He
just a
definitely
selfless player.
does. Yeah, he's a selfless player. He's a selfless basketball player, but he's definitely a high ego star when you really get to, when you look at stuff. You got
Yeah, I just
ALW.
wanted to touch on what you said. Oh, actually, this fits right in because it's what you touched on about him being he doesn't want to be the guy of the franchise, even though he can be the clear number one of any franchise. That will be his legacy. He is going down as maybe, I mean, a top 5 scorer of all time, all around. KD could literally do it all. He could shoot turnarounds. He can pull up from anywhere on the court. I mean, check the percentages, check the numbers. Fucking KD, like it or not, is probably the greatest scorer of all time, all around. Right? His legacy, though, is he will go down as the guy that could have been one of the greatest, but just didn't want to take that responsibility on his shoulders.
Yeah,
Honestly.
he's the guy. I would say like he's the guy that didn't want to be the guy.
Yeah,
Like
exactly. He's the guy that could have been the guy, didn't want to be the guy.
and didn't want to be the guy. He rather someone else take all the heat and be considered the face of the franchise, even though he's the best player on said franchise every single time. Every single time. I just went through his whole history where he was the best player on the Thunder. He was the best player on those Golden State Warrior teams that he was on. He was the best player on the Brooklyn Nets. Right now, he could be the best player on the Phoenix Suns, but none of those teams would he have been considered the face of the franchise because he was very willing to defer to the other star on said teams. And talking about what ALW says here, he says, what is Durant's legacy ultimately, like Chris said, but he's ALW says great player, injury prone, and overly sensitive. LOL. I won't say injury prone. I can't say injury prone because, like I said, it's all that 2019 season, and I can't label him injury prone player because of the last 3 seasons, and that totally neglects the previous almost 10 seasons before that, where he was healthy and considered, if not the best player in the league, he was the second best player in the league, or in that top 3 discussion with him, LeBron, and Steph Curry for the large amount of that time before he gets injured in 2019. So I can't call him injury prone. I think that's putting too much emphasis on the last 3 seasons and ignoring the 10 previous.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think as a whole for his career he's injury prone. He might be injury prone at the moment, but I mean those first 9-10 years he was a killer on the court. He was playing 70 plus games a year. That man was not sitting. He was out there just gunning every day, putting up 29, 30 a game. So the injury prone part, yeah, we could leave that one out. Overly sensitive though.
Right 100%.
Right on the nail.
Right on the nose, ALW with that one. Right on the nose. Why is Kelvin calling us? We got chilling with Chase.
I just got the alert too. Never fails.
Never fails. Chilling with Jay saying that he doesn't want his T-Wolves to be in the 5th seed. I mean, I wouldn't either. If I'm one of those bottom half teams that are jockeying for a position right now, I either want to be 7th or I want to be 6th. I want to be 7th or 6th right now. If I'm especially 6 with the topic that we're about to talk about, that I'm going to defer to you to break everything down that has transpired in the last couple of weeks since our last episode with the star of the 3 seed right now. But we'll get into that. And speaking of which, this is a good segue point to talk about it. We got saying that just get the 6th seed. I want the Grizzlies. Give me Ja Morant.
Ja Morant. Ja Morant. That's a good one.
Morant. That's a good one, Joe. Chris G, let's talk about Ja Morant, as I like to call him. Ja Morant. What has transpired in the last couple of weeks that has led to Ja Morant being suspended by the Memphis Grizzlies? They are now, the NBA is evaluating his whole situation. We've heard stuff about him pulling up with the crew on teenagers, jumping a teenager, putting a gun out on Instagram. Let's lay everything out for the people if they're not aware of what's been going on with Ja Morant.
So the main story that popped everything off, actually occurred. If I'm not mistaken, I read rumblings of it before the season even started, and it was, I think he was having like a little like tournament in his house or in his estate, and a couple young kids were there. They were all bowling. They got into some joint or whatever. Long story short, Ja Morant put hands on the kid, and even supposedly pistol whipped him or was waving the gun around. That was the rumblings. Then it turns out the kid, ended up trying to get this case going. The kid's mom wanted to get the case going, and they start investigating a little bit more. Apparently, Ja Morant's crew, after either I believe it was a Pacers game or a Raptors game, Ja Morant was with his crew.
Pacers.
They were joined with some Pacers staff members, and the crew pulled out guns on the Indiana Pacers staffers. That is a fucking no-no. Big no-no. You don't pull out guns on another franchise in the league. The whole 17-year-old thing is coming to a head, but then there was also another investigation in like Colorado where apparently he flashed a gun in an airport or something, or on a plane. The guy took right when the story drops, he's on Instagram Live, he's in the club and he's fucking playing with the gun. I mean, he is just not doing himself any favors. I think he might have woke up the next day and finally realized shit's about to hit the fan. Maybe I do need to kind of get my shit together. So he's secluded himself from the team. He's seeking some type of help. Hopefully he could change his crew around him. He just got the wrong type of people around him right now that's empower him to do all this phony thug shit, which doesn't really need to be done. You're a multi-million-dollar star. You're on the verge of superstardom, which is only going to make you more money and put you in a higher light, put you in a higher profile, make you even more of a role model to kids, or put you in a position to be a role model to kids because you're in the NBA. The first people that are going to look up to you are little kids who want to play basketball, especially a player like Ja. He's exciting, talks a little shit, he's cocky, he has the athletic ability of an animal. Like, this guy got it all, and it sucks to see him almost or be on the path of throwing it all away. So hopefully he gets the help that he needs before it's too late, because this could end in somebody killing Ja Morant. The wrong people thinking he's fucking around, and he's trying to show out in the wrong city. As we've seen in other cases, sports cases, people don't care. They don't give a fuck who you are. They will let off on you. They will try to exterminate you. So I hope he's careful. I hope he changes his surroundings. And I hope we get to see Ja Morant. Not back this. I don't think we're going to see him back this season. He's already out for at least 4 to 6 games. I think the NBA is going to end up suspending him for the rest of the season just because of the optics. And we'll see if anything else, pops up that might be concerning him and guns. Hopefully not. Hopefully this was the end of it and they nipped the situation in the butt. But hopefully he changes his shit and we'll see a better Ja Morant next year. Not in terms of basketball, but just a better person.
Yeah, and it's a real shame that all of this is transpiring, because Ja Morant was kind of viewed as one of those players that was supposed to be one of the future faces of the league in a lot of ways, because he comes into the same draft, number 2 overall pick behind Zion Williamson, and we know about Zion, and that's someone you can label as injury prone so far for his NBA career. But Ja Morant was kind of viewed as the unsung hero, the guy that a lot of people thought should have been the number 1 overall pick, and because of how he played, rookie of the year. Of course, there was the bubble where he played fantastically, but it's a sad case, because this is a case what Frantic World says here in the chat. You could take a guy out of the hood, but you can't take the hood out of the guy. And the real crazy part about the video part is that the Memphis Grizzlies actually talked to Ja Morant before that video. I have a report here from ESPN.com, says the Memphis Grizzlies coach Taylor Jenkins said Thursday that members of the organization had spoken to the All-Star guard about his off-the-court conduct before he posted a video in which he appeared to be displaying a gun in the strip club. The team had been hoping to avoid a situation like what happened this past weekend, which led to Morant being away for the team for at least 6 games. Jenkins said before Thursday night's game, against the Golden State Warriors. He said, and I quote, "We've had conversations in the past trying to guide him and help him continue to evolve as a person and as a player." Jenkins said of the discussion before the incident in Glendale, Colorado, "Obviously, this came to a head at the other day, so we put this process into action." Morant, the team's leading scorer, live streamed the video of himself with the apparent weapon on his Instagram account early Saturday morning after the Nuggets beat the Grizzlies on Friday night. Glendale police said Wednesday there was not enough evidence to pursue criminal charges against Ja Morant. The Grizzlies initially announced that the 23-year-old would miss at least 2 games. Immediately after Glendale said they would not pursue charges, the team said he would not play for at least 4 more games. And the NBA, like you said, is currently investigating this whole situation, and they're going to probably compound with even more games. But I said this on FMC. I'm going to say it here. The fact that Ja Morant initially got 2 games, in my family, Kyrie Irving got a whole lot more games for posting a video. Yes, it was an anti-Semitic video. Yes, I don't agree with what he said. Yes, I feel it was a little bit of a dumb decision. But there is a difference between posting and exposing that you're a dumbass than posting and exposing that you're a fucking criminal. Like what he did to the teenager and beating up the teenager, that's a crime. Having a gun, we don't know if he has a license for the gun, that's a crime. Like, these are crimes that he has made public. He is a sponsored athlete. Like, this is a guy that had so many sponsorships at his hand. You know, we had the stuff last year with his dad coming out and saying different stuff. It was kind of reminding people of, like, you know, when Kawhi's uncle was saying a whole bunch of shit and making hurting his image. But this stuff this year is just next level. Pulling out guns on staffers for the Pacers was one thing. That should have been like the hint that maybe you need to have this discussion. They shouldn't have even let it get this far with the whole jumping the teenager and then the gun on Instagram Live. These are like 3 different cases of escalating behavior issues that they should have nipped in the bud right after the first one with the Pacers.
Well, no, the first one was with the 17-year-old kid. This shit got reported in the summer.
Well, that one, it was kind of like low key. It was really the Pacers one. That's the one I originally like remember them talking about. They kind of brushed that under the rug with the teenager. It wasn't until the teenager more recently like pressed charges that has become a bigger story. But you're right, that happened first, and they probably knew about that first. But the big one that became like a league issue and started putting this spotlight on Ja Morant and his behavior off the court was the Pacers thing.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, you can't pull out on staffers of another franchise. That's just, I mean, you shouldn't be pulling out guns on anybody, but as staffers of another franchise, that just creates league tension. You know what I mean? You don't need that.
It's true. It's true. We got Chilling with Chase in the chat. He says Nike lost Kyrie and they didn't care because they grabbed Ja. Ja is a tremendous young player, and I know a lot of kids who love Ja. I'm sorry. I got kids. I'm not telling my kids to follow Ja Morant's footsteps. And if my kids were old enough to view Ja Morant as a role model, I'd be steering them the other way at this point because of what he's been doing. And I'm not saying that he's young enough where he can make the changes that he needs to get his life right. But I'm gonna repeat what Shannon Sharp said on Undisputed after all this became like the big league news that it was. You gotta move differently, Ja. Like, what are we doing? You can't hang out with the same people you were hanging out before when you were in the hood, when you were just a star athlete on the college team, on the high school team. It feels like he's still hanging out with the people from his hood when you need to level up, as Tony Khan would say about the All-Atlantic Championship. It's time to level up at this point, and you need to change the people around you.
Yeah, exactly. You're only as good as the company you keep. So if you're keeping the company that are gonna make you do stupid shit, you're bound to do stupid shit. You gotta upgrade your company. Gotta improve your value.
We got Will Chisholm who says, I'm not trying to judge his dad, but it feels like he act like a friend more than a parent. SP3, I'm with you. But like Dave Chappelle said, you can't say the Jews will get you clap every time. This is true. This is true, Will Chisholm. I love Will Chisholm because he's always in the chat trying to protect me from stuff I say. And I appreciate you. You are right. When it comes to the Jews, that's another level. And they be like, no, that's worse than being a criminal, is being anti-Semitic. But yeah, I agree with
You
the
could
first
kill a
part.
motherfucker, but what'd you say? What'd you say about the Jewish people?
What you say about the Jews? No. Worse than Ray Lewis. Will Chisholm saying, I'm not trying to judge his dad, but it feels like he act like a friend more than a parent. 100%. Yeah. I agree with that.
It's like his boy, like his best friend. It's like his hype man.
It's true.
Which it should be, yeah. But you need to provide that guidance as a parent as well. And it feels like maybe he isn't missing that. Maybe T Morant isn't as guiding as he should be. Maybe he's just here along for the ride. Nobody knows this. We don't know their personal relationship and how he mentors and protects his child. But from the outside looking in, that's what it appears like.
Yeah, it's time to kick it into gear and give him a kick in the ass when he really needs it and deserves it. And right now would be about that time. And Josh saying to Frantic World saying, Hood, ? He was born and raised in the suburbs, laughed my ass off. He's a fraud.
That's also true.
I will tell you though, the black dudes from the suburbs
got the most approved. They got the most approved.
Exactly. They want to prove how hood they are because they are from the suburbs. They try to over exaggerate more. So going on Instagram with a gun, that's exactly how the white kids that want to be hood act. That's what Ja is kind of showing right now, that he is trying to overcompensate for where he was raised.
Yeah, it makes sense.
We got Chase just laughing in the chat right now. Ja Morant was one of the guys that were kind of considered in the preseason to be one of the guys that would be a favorite for the MVP this season. There was other names like Luka Doncic, Joel Embiid, who has been an MVP favorite for the last couple of years. You had earlier on in the season guys like Giannis, guys like Jason Tatum, who have been viewed as MVP candidates. But as we're winding down this regular season with a lot of the teams having 15, 14, 16 games left in the season, it seems like it's a foregone conclusion that Nikola Jokic will be the 3-time MVP. But this causes an issue for some people, Chris G, as Kendrick Perkins on ESPN said a very interesting fact that has caused an uproar in a debate among NBA analysts in regards to this MVP race, with Nikola Jokic about to become one of the a rare group of NBA players to win 3 straight MVP awards. He would be the first since Larry Bird back in the 80s to do such a feat. But interestingly enough, Kendrick Perkins said that out of the last 20 years, there's only been 3 players to not be in the top 10 in scoring to win the league MVP. And those 3 would be Steve Nash, Dirk Nowitzki, and Nikola Jokic. What do they all have in common? I'll let you just think about that. But it's caused a little bit of a discussion. It's caused a whole argument on on First Take with JJ Redick coming to the defense of Nikola Jokic, because it's not Jokic's fault that he is kind of going to be, in my opinion, he should be a unanimous MVP, but he's gonna join that rarefied group of Larry Bird, Wilt Chamberlain, and Bill Russell as the only players to win 3 straight MVP awards. What do you think about this whole debate? But in my eyes, though, Chris G, it feels like this is more a debate about previous MVP awards and not this one, because I think that it's not really an argument, not really a debate. Nikola Jokic, and this is coming from someone that has been firmly against Nikola Jokic winning back-to-back MVPs the last 2 years. I felt like maybe Giannis or Joel Embiid had a run for it in the first season, but It was because of the whole thing with Giannis. He had already won 2 straight. They always use the term voter fatigue. They used that for LeBron James back in the 2010s. They used that for Michael Jordan back in the 90s. Voter fatigue. They used that for Steph Curry more recently. So like I think that it's a debate for other MVPs more than this one. What do you think about basically the NBA MVP debate becoming a black versus white thing?
Well, I like Embiid. I think he's having a hell of a season. I think he does deserve the MVP this year again. Just the things that he does from at his position and how important he is to his team, definitely, I think makes him the MVP front runner as opposed to the rest of the guys in the league. I will say I am not a fan of Kendrick Perkins. Never was, never will be. I do think he tends to create these arguments just to fucking, just to have something for people to talk about, just for clout, I guess. So I listen. The fact may be, all right, whatever. All these guys were white. Cool. We also forget that the NBA is made up like a fucking 75% minorities. I mean, there's not a lot of white guys in the league. You know what I mean? And when they are in the league, they're fucking usually good. They
have to be good.
They are stars. It's all about guys like Jokic, Luka. I mean, these are white guys that can ball. You know what I mean? It is
Indeed.
what it is. I think Kendrick Perkins was reaching for something as usual. Good on JJ. I like when JJ Redick kind of stands up for people because he is like the voice of like the under like managed or the underrated like people in the NBA. He does like kind of stick up for them. So I like JJ, but the whole black versus white thing, I think it's very unnecessary. I don't know. I just think Kendrick. It's Kendrick being Kendrick, and I'm kind of tired of seeing Perk, and I'm kind of tired of hearing from him. And this comes from somebody who plays 2K, and he's always bashing my player in my player mode. So makes me dislike him even more. Just get him off my TV screen. That's it.
I like Kendrick Perkins on my Twitter. I don't like to see him on my TV.
He has great points sometimes. He has great points sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes he'll make a great point. But it tends to feel like every time he has a fucking camera in front of him, he wants to try to create some type of controversy for whatever reason. Like, so this was a race-baited, heated argument on fucking national television during whatever's going on in the NBA right now was not needed or necessary. And it could have been his intention. And for what? It just... you got a couple headlines out of it, but other than that, it's fucking stupid. We don't need more of that. We don't need more divide than we already have when it comes to these type of things. So just to create it on a national platform, even though he might seek it as trying to bring awareness, it's like, come on, bro, like stop it.
It doesn't need to be a black or white thing. It's about if this player deserves to win it this year. And I feel like in previous voting, there should not have been a voter fatigue reasoning. LeBron should probably have won in 2011 and won his 3rd straight after winning in 2009 and 2010. But also, Derrick Rose had a good case to win that MVP as well. He got the Chicago Bulls to the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference. I mean, the one I go back to is Kobe Bean Bryant. Should have won multiple league MVPs.
That's robbed by a few people. Yeah.
He got robbed by Tim Duncan in, I think, 1 year. He got robbed by Kevin Durant, Steve Nash. Yeah, like there's multiple people. I would say Kobe Bean Bryant should have been more than a one-time MVP. Shaquille O'Neal should have been more than a one-time MVP. Michael Jordan should have won 3 straight MVP. He probably should have won MVP the year that Charles Barkley won it. He should have probably won MVP the both years that Karl Malone won the MVP. Like,
you can legit make an argument that Jordan could have been like a 6-time MVP straight. Like he had a 6-year run where he was that motherfucker in the league. So, I mean, I get where it comes from, where the idea comes from, but it's so stupid.
It is.
Oh, it's voter fatigue. Voter fatigue is stupid too.
voter fatigue is the stupidest shit I've ever heard for a reasoning. Don't give these people don't give these members of the media the fucking choice to choose the league MVP. Then I feel like it should be like the All-Star voting, where it's a mixture of the fans, it's a mixture of players, it's a mixture of coaches, and it's a mixture of media. It shouldn't just be the media chooses the league MVP, because this is the issue that we come upon. And if we're just sticking to Nikola Jokic, I feel like at the end of the day, okay, you could say Giannis won 2 straight. They did have somewhat of a drop in their production 2 years ago before they won the NBA Finals. So, okay, we'll say maybe he didn't deserve it. Joel Embiid gets injured late in the season and he misses the last couple of games. I feel like Nikola Jokic deserved that first MVP. If we're just talking about Nikola Jokic, the MVP he didn't deserve was last year. That should have went to Joel Embiid, in my opinion. I don't know about you, but I feel like we wouldn't have even been in this whole discussion of black versus white for the NBA MVP if there was a strict criteria. And the reason why Nikola Jokic would not have been the MVP last year is because his team was a fucking 6 seed. Like, I understand the whole argument of, if you take this player off this team, would they still be in that position? If you took Nikola Jokic off the Denver Nuggets last year, they're a lottery team for sure. I would love that argument, but there needs to be a strict criteria, and one of that criteria should be your team has to be in the top 4 or at least top 5 in your conference. The bottom half teams, that was the whole argument against Kobe Bryant back in all the years that Steve Nash won it, especially in 2006, when he had a team with fucking Smush Parker and Chris Mim and Kwame Brown, and he got them to the NBA playoffs at a 7 seed. When any other time they would have been the last seed in the West, and he was scoring crazy. He had 81 that season. He averaged 35 points per game, was a league leading scorer. He should have won MVP in retrospect for all the years that we've gotten. Russell Westbrook winning the MVP as a 5 or 6 seed. You had Nikola Jokic last year as a 6 seed. That should be one of the criteria, is that your team has to be a top 4 seed in their conference, and that is why my main reasoning of why I created the argument that Joel Embiid deserved to win MVP last year.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I was on the fence. I think it could have gone either way because they both had really good seasons. But in the terms of, if we have a solid criteria, top 4 teams, then yeah, should have went to Embiid. No arguments there.
We got in the chat chilling with Chase saying that Jokic to earn this one. Yes, because that the criteria that he would have fell off on last year, being a 6 seed, he has erased that, because they are the number 1 seed in the West, and it's not even close. It's like they are the upper echelon of the Western Conference, and they're in the top 3 teams in the entire league. So there's no question. In my opinion, he should be the unanimous MVP this season.
Yeah, I can see that happening. I don't really see anybody coming close. There's going to be that one guy that'll vote for Luka or Giannis or some shit. But
I know Skip Bayless going to vote for Joel Embiid. He's been trying to create that argument all season.
Shouldn't even get a fucking vote.
Oh, we got chilling with Chase. It says Giannis should have won the first Jokic MVP, and Embiid, I don't care that he missed some time. That was his MVP. Nah, I don't think the first one. I think it's the second one. The second one, because he didn't miss any time. His team was a 4th seed last season. Yeah, you could say if you took him off the team with James Harden, they would probably still be in the playoffs. I'm not sure about that. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, exactly. I'm not sure about that. That's not a very strong argument with the way that James Harden. I think James Harden has played much better this season in comparison to his last 2 seasons with the Sixers.
Mm-hmm. I don't. Yeah, it's definitely a more efficient season. I wouldn't call it his best season, but I mean, he's averaging 20 and 10. He's limiting the turnovers. He's playing with a good pace. He's getting everybody involved. I mean, I like what he's doing this season.
Yeah. We got ALW who says voter fatigue is so stupid. If someone is good, give them their flowers. If the same someone deserves it every year, fucking give it to them. Jokic is amazing, and MVP is a tough debate. Yeah, it's not a tough debate this season. There was the debate the last 2 seasons, but there's no debate here. Jokic has kind of checked every box as far as my criteria. The criteria of if you take him off the team, would he be that good? The criteria of being a top 4 seed in your conference, if your numbers are better overall than it was in previous years. And this season, he's averaging 24 points on 63% from the field, 12 rebounds, and 10 assists. He's averaging a triple-double. This is his best overall season of his career, and that says a lot when the guy averaged, he averaged more points last season and more rebounds, but the assist was down. He averaged 27 points, 14 rebounds, and 8 assists last season. The year before that, when he won the first MVP, he averaged 26 points, 11 rebounds, and 8 assists, but his shooting numbers are better, his assist is up, and his team is overall better. So this is why I think that it's like unanimous that he should win the MVP this season.
Oh yeah, I don't know any center that could play make like he does. And he's doing it at an efficient. You got to remember, Jokic shoots threes too, and he's fucking shooting 63%.
Yeah.
This is easily. I mean, he's easily shooting 38, 39% from three. Got to be somewhere around there. So I mean, for a guy that size, the way he plays to be averaging these numbers, there's no reason why he shouldn't be MVP.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I could check out what's his three. Yeah, he's averaging 40% from three this season.
That's wild.
That's wild. For a center, and he's gonna get double teams. He's averaging 40% from three, 63% from the field. That's insane. That's insane. This is, if you were talking to a 10-year-old SP3 as an NBA fan and you told me a center was averaging those numbers, I'd be like, you're lying. You're playing 2K. He's
a creative character.
I was like, you're playing live. What are you talking about? Chilling with Chase says, yeah, Kobe was robbed by Duncan and for sure Nash. I always stand by Kobe should have probably won in 2003 because that was the year that Shaq was out for a bunch of time after we three-peated. And we still were top 4 in the West, in the tough West. That's the difference, the tough West. And the Steve Nash one is 2006. Honestly, I can make an argument for Steve Nash not deserving either one of his MVPs because I think there's a strong argument for Shaq in 05 with the Miami Heat that he should have probably won that MVP.
I would say the second one definitely deserved to go to Kobe. The first one's borderline, though. I think Steve Nash, that was like he was always solid, but that was the one year that like he broke out and was like, oh shit, like Steve Nash is an all-time guard, you know?
It's true. Chilling with Chase and even I think LeBron's first should have been Kobe's. That's a tougher debate. That's a little bit closer because LeBron overall, he had better numbers than Kobe, and he was the 1 seed in the East. I believe the Lakers finished at like a 2 or 3 seed that season. But it's also another criteria that I feel is level of competition in the conference. I think it's tougher to be a 2 seed in the West in 2009 than it is to be a 1 seed in the East because it was a very wide margin of comparison from conference to conference back then.
I mean, the East was like the top 3 teams were heavy, and then everybody under that was like 500 or under, kind of like the West is this year. And then the West at that time, I mean, your 8th seed was 7 games over 500. Like it was very hard to get into the playoffs in the Western Conference.
It was indeed. We got Chili with Chase said, just imagine he was American-born white boy winning 3 MVPs in a row. He would be calling the NBA races. Yeah, if Kendrick Perkins was an analyst back in the 80s with Larry Bird, he'd be calling all types of names about the NBA.
I don't even want to imagine him how he would be. He'd be unfucking sufferable.
He's unfucking sufferable right now. What?
It'd be even worse. Sweet Jesus.
Sweet Jesus. And we got Kid Get Money. He said, talk them Kobe facts, SP3. I would live and die by Kobe Bryant deserved more MVPs than he got. Also, Alan Weinstein also saying, Kobe was robbed, should have had at least 3 MVPs. Yep. 2003, 2006, and 2008, the one he did get. Those are the 3 seasons. I don't think he should have won 3 straight. I could have made the argument he could have won in 07 too, but I would give that one to Dirk.
07, he was up there too. But yeah, Derrick Rose had a phenomenal season that year. I'm not taking it. It's
Well,
all-time
Dirk
Knicks
won in
legend.
07 on
Oh,
07.
Dirk.
Yeah.
Oh, but that Dirk one was good too.
Yeah, Dirk had a great season. I think they were the number 1 seed that season as well. So that makes a little bit more sense than a couple of other ones that Kobe should have won. But we got to talk about my Los Angeles Lakers, Chris G, because at long last, we are a 9th seed. We are in the play-in, and a lot of this is thanks to Anthony Davis, as LeBron James has been out injured. I think he's going to get reevaluated this coming week, and we'll find out if he'll be back for any amount of games for the regular season. But my Los Angeles Lakers is a 9th seed. We won 6 of our last 8 games. I believe 7 out of 10 overall. What do you think about these Los Angeles Lakers and Anthony Davis, as I predicted at the beginning of the season, playing like a top 5 MVP candidate, having 30 and 22 the other night against the Memphis Grizzlies? Come on, let's hear some praise for my Los Angeles Lakers, sir.
I forgot somebody tweeted that Anthony Davis fell off after he had like 27 points and 17 rebounds or some shit like that. I was like, oh, okay. I guess
That's fell off. Okay.
Yeah. There's a few things with the Lakers, right? LeBron needs to come back ASAP. That being said, his injury, I'm not sure how severe it is, so I don't know. I feel like he might be in the same boat with Kevin Durant. I mean, LeBron's fucking 38 years old. Who knows how long he's going to take to heal? He might not be able to even make it into the end of the regular season. That being said, Anthony Davis is holding down the team. I think the most important aspect of the team in these last 10 games is that they're deficient. They are number 1 in defensive ratings.
Yeah.
They have become basically a defensive juggernaut overnight, and that's in part to their trades that they made at the deadline. I mean, they got Malik Beasley, Vanderbilt's a powerhouse in the down low. Mo Bamba, when he comes back, is going to help as well. So I mean, there's room to grow. Like there's room to succeed there, but you need to be healthy. And the number one health reason, or a number one health question mark, even though he's on the court now, is always going to be Anthony Davis. Because I mean, I love the guy, but he does have a habit of going on these streaks where he's averaging 35 and 12, and then poof, gets hurt. He's out for a few weeks. So I don't want it to happen, but I mean, history will tell that it could very well happen. And if that happens and LeBron's not back in time, this team could easily go on a 7-game losing streak and fucking fall out of that seed. So I'm hoping they can stay, at least make the 8th seed. But well, I mean, it all depends on the health at this point.
Yeah, it all depends on the health, but I feel like the team overall just feels a lot better, and it's chucking along. It's going up. Right now, we're a 9th seed. By the time we do Tru Heel HEAT Check number 5, we might be a 7th seed. By the time we wrap up the regular season, we might be that 6th seed. We are only 2 games out.
2 games, yeah. I mean,
2
that's
games
the good
out of
thing.
the 5th seed, and a game and a half out of the 6th seed. The Western Conference and the parity between basically 5 through 12 is the reason why people are so optimistic about the Lakers right now, because if LeBron can come back, it is going to be a problem for any of the top half teams, whoever has to face us in the first round, or if we have to play in the play-in. We got Romeo being a hater. This is the main. You see, Chris, it's not you why I have to say bad things about the Knicks. It's because of this hating ass nigga. His hating ass. He either hating on All Elite Wrestling, or he hating on the Lakers. That's all his comments usually are when I'm on screen. Romeo saying way too hyped for a first round or play-in elimination. This is why nobody likes Lakers fans. Even less people like Knicks fans. I'll just say that. But hey, I like the Knicks, and we're going to talk about the Knicks to wrap things up here. ALW saying Vanderbilt is a beast. Yeah, he's been the defensive difference for the Lakers so far. Like, especially the work that he did against Luka in the Dallas game, how he really shut down Luka in the second half and made us be able to make that comeback. We're the only team in the league that has come back from 2 25-point deficits this season. So I'm here for it.
Yeah, I got faith in them, especially with that Western Conference going the way it is. So if they can come back fully healthy and still have a week or two left in the regular season, they can make a little push. They could end up with a 5 seed.
We got Kid Get Money saying, I like all the moves the Lakers made before the deadline. I wish that the Magic wouldn't have gave up Mo Bamba, but hopefully he gets his chance to shine in LA. He's a nice little fit for us, because the trade of Thomas Bryant I thought was a mistake initially, because I felt like Thomas Bryant was giving us quality minutes. I believe at one stretch he had like a 5 or 6 game stretch where he was averaging a double, but Mo Bamba has fit in just as well, and he has fit that role that Thomas Bryant was playing for us.
Yeah, and the addition of Jared Vanderbilt kind of negates anything
That too.
Thomas Bryant was doing. I think the combination of Bamba and Vanderbilt just that's an upgrade.
And then you got Beasley. He's been shooting well from the field. You got Dennis Schroeder, who's been kind of an unsung hero. Dennis Schroeder and Austin Reeves have kind of been the unsung heroes for the Lakers turnaround so far as well. ALW saying, I like all of the moves we made. We got Chilling with Chase, who says, remember ALW? I told you you would like him. He was like, I miss Jay Vando on the Wolves. Yes, he is my new favorite Laker as well, ALW. Jander Vanderbilt, good stuff all around. Before we go to the Eastern Conference and finish off talking about the stretch of great games for your New York Knicks, we got to bring up the other team in LA who it seems like as the Lakers are going up, some other team is coming down, and it's the Los Angeles Clippers, because they decided to sign up the black cloud of the Los Angeles Lakers over the last couple of seasons, Russell Westbrook. What is it? I believe their record now. I'm gonna double check here. I think they're now 2-6 since signing. Yeah, they're 2-6 since signing Russell Westbrook. What a decision! No, 2-4 since signing Russell Westbrook. What a decision by the Los Angeles Clippers. They thought that was a good idea.
I mean, it looked good on paper. I don't know what the fuck is up with Russell Westbrook. Just everything he touches is dying now. I feel bad. I love Russ. I mean, as a person, as a player, I've always had my gripes with how he plays, but I think he's a great person. He does a lot for his communities and for his team. He's actually a really good teammate, depending, like even with all the hoopla that went down on the Lakers and all that stuff. So it's just sad to see a guy of his caliber just fucking be in the dumps like he's at. So I don't know. It's tough.
I hate to say I told you so, Clippers fans, but I told you so. They all thought that the Lakers was the issue. No, maybe Russell Westbrook is not as good as he once was, and we had to learn that the hard way, and now the Clippers are having to learn that the hard way. But the Clippers just play with no heart, no hustle, no energy a lot of times. Like it's depressing to see them. And the fact that this is now year 4 since this whole Kawhi and Paul George experiment, this has to be one of the bigger, it's not Brooklyn levels of bust when it comes to Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, but it has to be considered one of the biggest busts of a dynamic duo that has ever been put together in NBA history.
Yeah, I mean, between injuries and just bad losses, it's up there. And then it doesn't help that it just doesn't help that I don't know if it's the coaching or something. It's just something seems off with that atmosphere and around the Clippers. It's just weird. And it also doesn't help that the guy you traded to get one of these stars is probably going to be one of the best scorers in the league for the next decade. So, I mean, you look back at that trade and just be like, oh, shit, we might have went wrong. They got a little time. They got a little time left to try to turn it around, depending on what happens with Kawhi and stuff. But I don't know. It could go down as definitely one of the biggest dynamic duo busts.
Indeed. But I think that's enough talking about the West, because we're going to finish off talking about the Eastern Conference. And one of the hottest teams in the Eastern Conference is your New York Knicks. New York Knicks was looking good. As I said to you, and I've said to other Knicks fans, the difference between the Knicks this season is just the right amount of former Lakers. Because ever since y'all signed Josh the Hitman Hart, y'all went on an 8-game winning streak, 7-game
Nine. I think
winning
we went
streak,
9 in a row.
9 in a
Eight or
row.
9 in a row. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm counting it right now. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 9 in a row. Yeah, did get 2 tough losses this past week with losing to the Hornets on Tuesday. Y'all lost to the Kings yesterday, but still one of the hottest teams. Y'all have now up to a 5th seed in the Eastern Conference. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you. If I was the Knicks, I wouldn't really want to be in that 5th seed, because facing the Cavaliers versus facing Doc Rivers and James Harden in the first round, I think that would be the better option for you. But who knows what will happen these last couple of games? What do you think has been the biggest difference for your New York Knicks?
Definitely the defense. We went back to kind of being that solid defensive team again. When we got Josh Hart, okay, he's kind of the glue on that second unit that holds up the defense, and then you could put him in the first unit when you need to in crunch time, and he's going to play his heart out. He's always been a really good glue guy, rotational player that I've always liked since he was a Laker and on the Pelicans and on the Blazers, and now as a Knick, I've always liked Josh Hart, so it's good to see him playing. Knicks, they've been scoring efficiently. They've been moving the ball. Everybody's been playing good, but it begins and ends with Jalen Brunson, like I've been saying. He's been hurt the last couple games. That sore foot. We lost to the Hornets in a tough loss. We were up 15 at the half, kind of just lost steam, had a rough start to the third quarter. Hornets eventually came back. Scary Terry had a fucking great game, and we lost a tough one. Yesterday, we lost to the Kings, which isn't that bad. Considering
Kings,
the
one of the
Kings
hottest teams in the league as well.
one of the hottest teams in the league, solidified in that 3rd seed on the West.
Second seed now.
Look at 2nd seed now, and they're a legit team. And we had some fight. We were down almost damn near 20 in halftime, with Brunson getting hurt with like 3 minutes left in the half after he put up 19 points in fucking 10, 12 minutes. So it's sad to see him go down. Hopefully that injury is not too serious, because we really need them. But we came back and lost by 5-7 points to the Kings, considering they're a really good team and we were missing our point guard. This team's showing a lot of heart, and they're playing against really good teams and playing hard. So as long as we keep competing, I don't expect us to win a championship, but as long as we keep competing and get some momentum into the playoffs, that's all I really want.
Hey, it's looking good for the New York Knicks. Brunson definitely has to come back and get healthy for you guys to be at full strength. It's good that it happened for right now, because he has a couple of games where he can get healthy and then come back to end the regular season, so you can end the regular season strong. And I think that if it does wind up how it is right now, Knicks versus Cavaliers might be the best first round series in all of basketball.
It's going to be tough. I mean, the Cavaliers is not by any means a pushover team. I mean, they're in that 4th seed for a reason. They seem to be getting better. They're starting to feels like they're starting to hit their stride a little bit. They're starting to get like completely healthy again. So they will be a scary team in the playoffs. But hey, I'm gonna trust in Tibbs and the defense and the rotation, and we'll see if we could grab a couple wins in Cleveland, and maybe win some games in New York, and we'll be all right.
And we got to also give it up to the Milwaukee Bucks, who are now the 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. Winners of, I believe it's 16 of the last 18 they have won. They're just on a ridiculous stretch now that they are kind of at their full health, with Middleton back on the court, getting back into the flow of things. Tru Holiday having a monster season. I think it was around like when we were doing the All-Star thing and we looked at his numbers and we realized he's having a career year.
Yeah,
and
he
that's
hasn't
been the
slowed
big
down.
difference.
He hasn't slowed down. He's been so good that when Giannis was out for a few games, you didn't notice, because Drew was holding him down from a scoring end, and as a playmaker, he was taking more of the responsibility, getting Brook Lopez more involved, getting Middleton, other guys more involved. They're a solid team. They're a great team.
Yes, I think that is the much we can say about the Eastern Conference. We will definitely start off on them for our next edition of Tru Heel Heat Check. But a lot of teams are firing on all cylinders. Other teams are putting it together. Other teams are falling down. Yes, I'm talking about you, Clippers, talking about you, Suns, with this KD injury. But we will see how things change before the next edition of Tru Heel Heat Check. I want to cover a couple of more comments here. We got Safed who says those two losses are the rest bias calls against the Knicks. Oh, don't give me that. It wasn't as egregious as the Lakers ref bias against us this season, but I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you for the very least. We got Romeo who says get Brunson healthy ASAP. RJ has played better. Hart is an outstanding ad for the team. He definitely is. We got Kid Get Money saying my Magic need to start winning ASAP if we want to sneak into the play-in. I don't think you want to sneak into the play-in. I think you want to be a lottery team again.
Yeah, just falter, man. Try to get lucky and get Scoot Henderson because y'all not getting Wembanyama.
No,
but if you guys can get Scoot, I mean, that between him and Paolo, that's a good one too, right there.
And then you can trade all the other guards that you got, or at least a couple of them.
Fultz is the only one I would keep on because I feel like he's a very underrated player when he's healthy. So he's the one guy in the Magic I would hold on to him. Maybe Cole Anthony to bring off the bench, but that's about it.
I would trade Cole Anthony. Get some wing players out there. But we will talk more about the Eastern Conference on the next edition of Tru Heel Heat Check. Really enjoyed talking about NBA basketball with you again, Chris G. Let the people know where they can follow you on social media. What you got going on, good sir?
You can find me at Tru Heel Chris G on Twitter, Instagram. Of course, every Tuesday on the Tru Heel Heat Wrestling YouTube channel, NX3, with my good brothers Romeo and Ness. Every Thursday on the Twitch, Tru Heel Heat Gaming. You can watch Blunt Impact. Me and Ness do the watch along there for Impact Wrestling. Friday nights, I will be playing tonight, Hogwarts Legacy. Come watch me Hufflepuff my way into the Hogwarts world. And then Tru Heel Heat Sports, of course, every other Friday, me and SP3 do Tru Heel Heat Check, so you can catch us here. And all the pay-per-view watch-alongs along the way, I'll pop up.
There you go. Like you said, twitch.tv/Tru Heel Heat Gaming. Check out last night's edition of Blunt Impact with Chris G, Ness, special guest, the Negro Buck, Nick Jackson, watching Impact on Access TV. That Jonathan Gresham Kushida match was dope. Love the handshake spot. The handshake spot was great. So check that out right now. Also, you could go over and subscribe to the Tru Heel Heat main channel, the wrestling channel, where yesterday you had AE Rambo episode 84, The Waste of a Revolution, with me and Jimmy Rackham reviewing AEW Dynamite. You also got Tru Heel Heat 216 tomorrow, 11:05 a.m. Eastern Time. Myself, Miss Chrissy Love, and special guest Scott Edwards, Scott E. Wrestling, discussing the latest in wrestling news. We're going to talk about AEW Revolution. We're going to talk about Dynamite, Rampage, WWE SmackDown, Raw, NXT, the road to WrestleMania. Stardom had a huge show last weekend. New Japan had a few shows. We're going to talk about it all on Tru Heel Heat. So join us at 11:05 a.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. And of course, you can follow me on the Twitter machine at Tru Heel SP3. Follow the gang, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Tru Heel Heat. Going up at 2 p.m. Eastern Time today. We got a brand new exclusive interview, Tru Heel's BTR Between the Ropes, with special guest Monteezy. He is a rapper, a podcaster. He is the co-host of the Swerve City podcast with Swerve Strickland. We talk about his friendship with Swerve Strickland, his new track, The Price Went Up, with a Hit Row reunion. It's very great interview here, talking about music, talking about wrestling. He's done tracks for numerous wrestlers, so check that out at the top of the hour. And we want to thank everyone for joining us here for another edition of Tru Heel Heat Check. You guys are great. We appreciate you for joining us. David Hall, Safet, Chase, Romeo, ALW, Kid Get Money, Will Chisholm. Thank you all. Josh was in the chat as well. We appreciate y'all. This is why we do this show, for y'all to talk some NBA basketball. So until the Friday after next, that is Chris G. It is me, your Tru Heel Phenom, SP3. This has been Tru Heel Heat Check number 4. We are signing off until next time.
Peace.